Welcome to the Performing Arts Medicine Association Symposium Abstract Tutorial. This tutorial will focus on the Pama Educational Presentation Abstract. The Educational Presentation Abstract is designed for projects that focus on teaching or informing the audience of a problem or concept related to an artistic discipline. Also, works that are case studies or case series should be submitted on this form. Before going further, if the focus of your presentation is primarily hypothesis-driven and involves data collection and intervention and analysis of data based on your hypothesis, please go to the Research Abstract tutorial and the Research Abstract form. If you are interested in presenting a workshop, please go to the Workshop Abstract tutorial. At this time, we will go through the Educational Presentation Abstract. Please note there are two items listed here. The first is a worksheet, which you may choose to download and work from prior to clicking on the second link, which is the submission portal for the educational abstract. We will be going through the submission portal in this video and ask that you use the worksheet to guide your preparation before submission. When you first click on the submission link, you will need to provide the primary author's contact information. If the primary author is a student, please be sure to include their institution information using this hidden box. If available, upload the primary author's CV at this point. This is required even if the primary author is a student. This will not affect our decision to accept your presentation, but is something that is required of accepted presentations and would be one less thing for you to worry about later if your abstract is accepted. On the next page, the same information is requested for any co-authors who should be listed on the abstract. This is optional as you may be submitting an abstract without any co-authors. Having this information ready before submission will expedite the process. You may add or remove co-authors as necessary. Next is the abstract submission. Please verify that you have selected the correct format at the top of the page. Please start by selecting the appropriate artistic category that pertains to your presentation. You may click all that apply as necessary. If none of them apply, please select Type Other Artistic Category here and enter your information. Next, select your preferred presentation format. Please select oral only if your work is to be considered only for a plenary program presentation. Please select poster only if all you want to do is present your work in poster format. Despite indicating a preference, please then also indicate if you would be willing to consider another presentation format under the submission format change. Although you may feel strongly that you want to do an oral presentation, there are times that the Abstract Review Committee may feel that your work is extremely valuable but more suited for a different presentation format. This may increase the likelihood for acceptance as there are limited slots for each format. If you are willing to be flexible about the presentation format, please select yes. If you only want to be considered for the format you selected, please select no. Lastly, for this upper section, it is important that you provide information about the ethical or institutional review board approval status for your project. The abstract will not be reviewed if this item is not completed. You must indicate whether ethical or institutional review board approval has been granted, or is in progress, or is not needed. While educational topics are often exempt, if you have questions regarding the need for approval, we urge you to check immediately with the ethical or institutional review board at your institution. They will be more than happy to advise you if review and approval is needed for your project. It is unethical to conduct, publish, or present research studies without this review. Please note, in the United States, projects that are exempt from this process must still be reviewed to confirm exemption, and a letter is still provided to validate exemption. While you may believe your project is eligible for exempt status, the review board at your institution may disagree and ask that you submit for expedited or full review. Only the board can verify the appropriate decision, and only the approval letter indicates the process has been undergone appropriately. In addition to your selection, you may provide the approval or exempt letter by uploading it here. Although it is not required, you may be asked to provide this information during the review process if the research committee requests this information. The following section are the fields for the abstract submission. These selections, including their instructions, each correspond with the worksheet that is provided on the main page. Please note that the combined word count for all of these sections, excluding the title, must not exceed 350 words. You may note the word count while preparing your abstract on the worksheet. It is extremely important that you do not include any of your biographical information in any of the following sections. Your abstract should be blinded, meaning there should be no identifiable information in your submission. This includes items such as your name, your university, the name of the organization for whom you work, and the name of the city in which the study was performed. At times, this is surprisingly difficult to do. A hypothetical example would be, I am Ann Smith and a student at the University of Chicago Dance Department, and I followed 6 dancers in the Chicago Ballet Company to determine their rate of injury during the performance season. It is more appropriate to state this information as follows. The study was performed in a major metropolitan city by a university-based researcher on the rate of injury of 6 dancers in a major metropolitan dance company. We will now go to the required fields that you have filled in on your worksheet. The first required field is the title of the presentation. This title should tell the audience what your study is about and your conclusions. This title can be catchy and provocative, but should truly reflect your findings and not exaggerate your findings in order to be attention-grabbing. For example, a case series describing singing voice dystonia could have one of the 2 following titles. A factual title such as Task-Specific Singing Dystonia, Vocal Instability That Technique Cannot Fix. Or a catchy but less informative title such as Vocal Instability, a Neurological Problem or a Technical Problem. An obviously exaggerated and definitely misleading title such as Singer's Dystonia Causes Singers to Commit Suicide should be avoided. The next item is the rationale for your study. This paragraph should synthesize information on the importance of this educational topic and include historical information, literature, or other information that makes your presentation compelling. Again, no biographical information should be put in this area. Next is the purpose of your presentation. This should state the issue you have chosen to study, the main goals of your study, and what you intend to convey during this presentation. The next item is the approach of your presentation. The methods used to develop your educational topic should be detailed here, and the approach of your presentation made clear. This should include how you derived the findings or information, such as a state-of-the-art or science review, an evidence review, or a clinical update. For case studies or case series, the educational topic or question should be indicated. The next item is the content of your presentation. In this section, you will summarize your observations or educational content for the presentation. The last item on this page is clinical implications. In this section, you should summarize the significance of your topic's presentation and how practitioners can utilize this information. Suggestions for further research or work should also be mentioned if applicable. As previously mentioned, Pama will not accept any abstract that contains or may be interpreted as an attempt to promote or sell any specific company, product, or service. We require that all submissions certify that all presenters will abide by this statement. Presentations will be vetted for this content, and an acceptance may be revoked if the presenters do not comply. This is a scientific symposium, and we reserve the right to keep our presentations related to the dissemination of scientific knowledge. Upon submission, you will be redirected to another page to the Conflict of Interest Reporting Form. This Conflict of Interest Reporting Form allows PAMA to submit our content to professional organizations in order to apply for continuing education credits. On this page, you and all of your co-authors will be required to disclose any conflicts of interest. Each author or presenter must complete their own COI form. You must indicate whether or not you will be able to provide an unbiased presentation, have any conflicts, and agree to disclose unlabeled or unapproved drugs or products in your presentation. Additionally, you must report your NPI number. You will provide an electronic date and signature at the bottom of the form and click Submit for the final submission of this entry. If you have any further questions about submitting an abstract or need extra guidance on making the appropriate selections, please contact our research committee chair at artsmedresearch@gmail.com. Thank you.